My name is Bode Agusto. My childhood was great in the sense that we were living on Lagos Island. School was less than 5 minutes walk away from your house. And the only time I needed to travel any great distance to get to school was when I was doing my A-levels in St. Gregory's College. Because my primary school was like 3 minutes walk from the house. My secondary school was like 5-6 minutes walk from the house. So the little or no stress. And we could move around freely in the neighborhood. We could play with our mates. We would go and play football at race course or what used to be the cemetery in Campus Square. But it is now a sports center, I believe. So growing up was good, the quality of education was good, and parents were caring, so we had a good life. When we were in Methodist Boys High School, we had a British gentleman who was our scout master, and he was a manager in the accounting firm Pigmary Castleton Elliott and Co. And it's the firm that later became KPMG today. So he was our scout master, and a lot of us looked up to him. And apart from that, my mother also had a very close friend, Mrs. Randall, the wife of J.K. Randall. And her eldest son, Jay Randall, had qualified as a chartered accountant as well. He also encouraged me and guided me. So those were the two big influences. Not really. UTC was an accident. An accident in the sense that in those days when they were doing NYSC postings, they would post you to a particular state. And then some of you will get what they call special posting, which means that they will not only post you to that state, they will post you to a specific organization in that state. So I said, I had never been to the East before in my life, and I know directly the organization I'm going to work in, the city I'm going to work in, and I said, okay, I will go. So I was adventurous, and I went, and I had a wonderful time in Imo State, working as an accountant in the branch that was in Aba. And we were selling motor cars, we were selling generators, and a few other things there. So it was the people welcomed me. I had a good time. Our orientation was at Government College in Umudike Mwahia. That was a miserable time for me because that was my first time of going to the bush in my life. Because everywhere around in Umudike was bush. And we spent 6 weeks there, but by the time we were spending 6 weeks there, I started to acclimatize, and then we went to Aba to start our family assignment, and had a good time working there, because it was a good experience for me, because the accountant was a nice guy, and he allowed me to do more and more when he realized that I could do more. So he stepped back and allowed me to do more and more. So it was a good working experience for me.
In one's lifetime, a time to be born and a time to die. Time to laugh and be happy, and time to weep. Time to succeed and time to fail, etc., etc. As stated, in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1 to verse 8. Positive times in our lives make us happy, while the negative make us sad. It is traditional that when a group of people have been together for a while, they become so bonded that whatever happens to one is shared by some other members, if not all the members of the group. Such is the kind of relationship that exists amongst the members of the class 1968 to 1972 of MBHS, then located at 11 Cross Street, Lagos. Just like our dear son said, two particular dates will make a mark in the history of those of us who passed through around that time. January 1968 and December 1972. In 1968, about 80 of us from different families and all products of different upbringing came together in the school compound, having passed the entrance examination. Our school uniforms were brilliant white, with our school ties, caps and jackets on. We all looked into the future. Death didn't see much beyond our personal desires. In alphabetical order, we were put into our classes and also our schoolhouses. Bode, of course, Agusto was in A class, and he was in Disbury House. We all looked tiny in our frames. On resumption every year, our usual aim was, God behold us with thy blessing. And at the end of each year, including December 1972, when we all parted for good, the aim was, God dismiss us with thy blessing. I'm sure most of you know this aim. Your Excellencies, my Lord, spiritual and temporal, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that opening paragraph, I'm sure you're all familiar with. So don't let me waste your time. Let me not bore you with such history. My business of the day is to let you know more about one of us, those tiny boys of 1968, and why we're celebrating today, having exited this world. Born into the popular Agusto family of Lagos, but he grew up at Odunlami Street and gained admission into MBHS. As we continued mixing with each other at Broad Street under the supervision of our principal, the late Mr. D.A. Famuroti, some of us became closer to each other than others. However, like all of us, but they never discriminated tribally or religiously. It was obvious that he was a boy brought up with the fear of God in his mind. A fine boy. He ensured that he left no stone unturned in his academic work and took part in extracurricular activities in school. A committed member of the Literary and Debating Society, but he was engaged in some sporting activities too, e.g. athletics, basketball, and of course soccer. Basketball, in which he featured in the school's team. He never allowed these extracurricular activities to overshadow his main reason, academics, for being in school. He joined one of the best character building societies for young boys, the Boy Scout movement of Nigeria. As if he knew the future, but he attended some camps for this movement. It was indeed a leadership training program for the young man. His membership of the Boy Scouts movement taught him to be prepared always. And as people were giving testimonies and they were talking of what they always on the spot, I just smiled. That is one of the major reasons. Socially, he was never missing at the annual end of year party of the discipline house of the school. Very amiable and very gentle, he mixed freely with all, showing respect and courtesies to all around him. While in school, it was usually a delight for some of us to attend the annual Christmas to end of year party of the Agusto family on Bode's invitation. Academically, but it was brilliant. He passed out of the school in flying colors and moved on to St. Gregory's College of Alibri, Lagos for his higher school certificate program, which he concluded again in flying colors. But he was indeed a good and worthy ambassador of MBHS. With his sound educational foundation, he served through his degree program in accounting at the University of Lagos Akoka, and in no time, he wrote and passed the various stages of the professional examinations of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN, thus becoming a chartered accountant in the year 1981. Professionally, he had trained with the firm of Mrs. Pricewaterhouse, now PricewaterhouseCoopers. Many of you get all the academic certificates and may not know what steps to take after. Some do acquire various qualifications and use them well, but they not only got qualified. As one born into a family where both father and grandfather were lawyers and hence appreciated Western education, but this level of intelligence made him to achieve a lot with his various educational and professional qualifications. He was a chartered accountant of note, and indeed a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. He founded the first credit rating company in Nigeria, Agusto & Co., which became recognized internationally. He was a consultant on economics, finance, and business strategy. But he was an assistant vice president of Citibank Nigeria, formerly NIB. He was a partner in PricewaterhouseCoopers. A man of fine details, but he was Director General and advisor on budget matters to President Olusegun Mubasheer during his tenure as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
We are here for the distinguished old boy, Mr. Mubasheer Olabode, Agusto. We are going to sing the first school hymn stanza and the last one.
Only the first.
The first one only.
Only
Okay.
the first. Thank you very much.
Very good? Okay. Our land of birth, we pledge to thee, our love and joy in the years to be. When we are grown and take our place as men and toilers with our race.
Thank you very much. The old boys of Methodist Boys High School.
About what he was, I keep hearing in the back of my mind his laughter. He would just laugh. He enjoyed laughing, and his laughter was infectious. You couldn't spend a minute or two with him without hearing that wonderful, infectious, loud laughter. But he showed kindness and support to others. He always remembered things that were important to you. And when you talked to him, whatever you were talking about felt like the most important thing. If he was coming to visit you, he always brought us a gift. He'd bring me a gift, he'd bring my wife Lola a gift. Maybe a golf shirt, a sleeve of balls, or something memorable. So he always did that. And he was a great listener. And he would analyze, and when you sought his advice, he would give you a crisp, analytic answer about what he thought. And he was always clear about what he thought. Maybe the most significantly when our daughter wanted to spend some time in Lagos and get work experience and live here. And Bode arranged everything. And he and Edna looked after her like she was their own daughter. I think he would want to be remembered as a consummate professional that he was. As a financial analyst, a great accountant. I think he would want to be remembered as a great family man. He was a great husband to his wife Edna and his children, as a great dad. He was a great family man and a great friend to all his dear friends, myself included. I always felt happy around Bode. He always made you feel like you were the most important person to him at that time. He was always very giving of his time and pleasures. I really enjoyed all my times with Bode. The kinds of things that he would always want to say and share, particularly on the golf course, with me, would be, he would say, Bola, keep your head down and complete your swing. And if I made a bad shot, he would say, no! And that would be on the golf course. And if we were watching a game together, typically we were watching Arsenal Football Club, I would say to him, I always used to refer to him, rather than call him Bode, I would call him Up Arsenal. And that was the way I always referred to him. He was the way Bode approached friendships and relationships, he was all in. He was all in. He was a faithful friend, a caring, personable individual. And so I would say he was all in, personable.
This is because as I started one day, the meaningful person of my friend, the police elected to my boy as teachers in the primary schools that I went to those days, when they would say, listen here, this boy, you have done so exceedingly well. You cannot proceed to the next one. Take one, it's 2 or 3 days, go to the next level of life. So that was like, Bode had done everything that man, God and man were respected of a person on this earth, and were saying to him. So if I grant you one time to understand, what will you do for me and for your fellow man? Take a pass, and go and rest. That is the way I felt hearing the news of this passage. If I try to go on, myself, the question to say, listen, but he was a great man. All friends of his, though he was a great man, all of us will miss him. But as I wrote in my tribute, the part I can remember, I said, never, loved ones never leave us. And these are things I quoted. Loved ones never leave us. They are always there. They walk beside us, and heard and seen, but they are always there. Once there was love, there is no loss. May his soul rest in perfect peace. I thank you all.
Mrs. Edna Agusto, Lande, Turayo, Mumi, and Debo. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the privilege of being able to stand here tell my Bode Agusto story. I'm certainly not in a position to give a tribute. So I've taken time to sort of write out what I intend to say about Bode so that I can do justice in the short time frame that I have. Angels do live amongst us. Olabode, Mubasheer, Agusto. I've been pondering why I feel such a sense of loss and emptiness following Bode's passing. Really, we're not bodies by any stretch of imagination, and neither were we everyday friends or mates. I've concluded that my reaction and feelings are driven by sudden loss of an anchor that was so solid and durable that it became an interesting, important part of my entire ecosystem. This was without force or drama that made me so comfortable to the extent that I didn't even realize the role he was performing. I knew of Bode as the scraggy first-year boy at St. Gabriel's College in the early 70s, where he was already a legendary sixth former with the likes of Nelson Eyesipo, who you just heard, Ben Bruce, Cyril Chuguma, Bode Kaloni, and many others. I didn't quite know him until he became my boss at NIBC Bank over a decade later. His leadership style and mentoring skills imbued massive confidence in me as a young man, barely 1 year out of school, without any work experience, which enabled me to perform in the challenging role as head of General Internal Services at Citibank Nigeria. For those who are in City, you understand what head of GIS meant. But these high ethical standards reinforced the moral compass that prepared and has enabled me to navigate the slippery boundaries that define the business and work environment in Nigeria. His classy style and exemplar conduct cleared the broad lines that made the choices so very easy. They eventually ensured that the bank met its obligations to me at entry or moving to the role I was actually employed for, which was in corporate finance. But it was always there in the background through my work career, checking in on my progress through my various moves and ensuring advice and guidance in between the occasional early morning tennis games. Nobody's talking about tennis, but this first love was tennis before, after football. During one of the most challenging phases of my life, Bode, in his customary manner, reached down to uplift me. I was grappling with the loss of my wife and navigating through the grief, while also transitioning out of a difficult career situation. Unexpectedly, Bode orchestrated a position for me in his budget office team in Abuja, providing respite from the stress and turmoil that had defined my life in Lagos. Not only did he secure the job, but he and Edna also extended the doors of their home, offering me shelter and support throughout the majority of my 3-year tenure in Abuja. The most cherished and impactful aspect was the opportunity they afforded me by inviting me to reside with them, allowing me to observe family dynamics up close. Through this selfless act, amidst the sacrifices of his privacy, they conveyed a powerful lesson. There's life after loss and grief. But they had experienced the same kind of loss I was undergoing at that time. What better mentoring could there be than inviting me into their affectionate home, demonstrating the path to healing and a future through their own example. The magnitude of their generosity and the ease with which it was extended made it appear remarkably ordinary and commonplace. But this primary team of private sector aides included 3 individuals, including myself, who operated from his office, situated at the conference table right next to his desk. This arrangement often provided amusement for Akin Akisomi, the late Jimmy Lawal, and myself. We found entertainment in observing the reactions of influential individuals who would come to the office to have supposedly private meetings with Bode, only to discover that we were an integral part of the meeting. Of course, what that did was to limit the extent of their prayers to very reasonable bounds. That was Bode for you. Collaborating with Bode in the budget office was a delightful and rewarding experience. He would address President Obasanjo and the cleaners in the office with the same respectful tone. He always would pass the message in such a manner that even though it was bitter, he would take it without any qualms. He consistently provided you with tasks and duties equipped with the necessary resources for success and remain a consistent presence through the journey to guarantee your achievement. Because I had the unique privilege of seeing him engage at close quarters, both at home and at work, I knew he was the real McCoy.
He would always ask me, what can we do better for them? As a mentor, I also learned about unity from Bode Agusto. Every member of Agusto & Co is a family, he used to tell me. He celebrated the achievements of each staff and stood by us when times were adverse. He also believed in an open door policy and never closed his door while he was MD. A future that Vivian Shobo herself continued, and so have I. His attributes of simplicity and oneness continues to be the fabric of our great company Agusto & Co. Bode Agusto was my teacher. He was always willing to share his knowledge. He taught me from financial analysis to macro to taxation, which at the time I considered quite boring. But he continued at it. Early this year, almost as if he knew his time on earth was coming to an end, he called me and said he would like to train the staff of Agusto & Co. for a few days. I thought a few days was what he said, but the teaching went on for many weeks, of which Bode was waking up in America at 3 a.m. to teach the staff of Agusto & Co. He taught them financial analysis of various industries, breaking down the most complex issues in his usual form and answering every question patiently. We at Agusto & Co will miss his teachings and his apt perspectives on critical macro issues. As a leader, Bode showed me by example. He led me through encouragement and commendations. He would have encouraged me to achieve my deliverables and would not hesitate to praise me when the team excelled. And in his usual words, he would say, "Jinkao, I am proud of you." He also exhibited humility in all his dealings. I remember going for a meeting with Bode with one of the former banks, Money Bank at the time. And they opened the gate for us at the head office, asking us no questions. And I remember telling Bode that the security men must know you. Bode answered me. He said, "It is not me they will know. It is the car that they have opened the gate for." At that time, Bode had a Mercedes E-Class. He did not allow himself to be ensnared by the trappings of any position at all. He was humble and showed respect to everyone, irrespective of status. Bode, when you had the opportunity to have met him, Bode, three critical attributes. Bode was extremely brilliant. Bode was very content, but most importantly, he loved his family deeply. The last physical meeting we had, he spoke glowingly of his children their achievements and how he was so proud of them. I left that meeting determined to celebrate my own children the way he did, to speak well of their achievements, and also to ensure that I showed them how proud I am of them. That's who Bode was. Professionally, Bode started Agusto & Co. in 1992, a company he led for 11 years. In 2003, when he knew he was going to leave 8 to 5 of working for Agusto & Co., he worked tirelessly on rating methodologies and policies. Have I done 3 minutes? I'll be fast. And I would like to say that some of those policies have kept us through the years, and they continue to uphold the structure of Agusto & Co. Today, to the glory of God, Agusto & Co. is a 31-year-old company, offering credit ratings in Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, Zimbabwe, and we know that the end is not in sight. And we also have a consulting subsidiary. Today we are the first indigenous African company to be accredited by the Climate Bonds Initiative for the verification of green bonds, all by a seed planted by Olabode Agusto. Because I've been hurried, I will skip. A friend of Bode said to me, he said, Bode left before his time. I don't know, because I believe a man's time is in the hand of the Almighty God. But he said something that stayed with me. He said, Bode left an indelible mark on all our lives. And that I totally agree. Bode Agusto, he came, he lived, and he left a mark impression in our lives and in the finance field in Nigeria and beyond. Adieu, Bode.
Edna, lots of love. Well, I'm going to save you some time because a lot has been said. So I'm just going to give 2 testimonials that speak to some of the character attributes of Bode that has been spoken about. I met Bode because I became the adopted sister of Lola Tayade. And from that moment, I became his Aguru. And 2 landmark points. When I was appointed as the chairman of First Bank, Bode called me and said, Aguru, I need you to come and see me. So I said, okay. Because I knew I could trust him. So the first thing he said to me is, I trust you. I trust your capacity to do this. I trust your character, and I know you will pull this off. But I'm going to do something. I need you to give me 3 to 4 hours of your time and tell me a day that you can come to the house. Edna would remember. We agreed a time, and after about a week or 2, I went to see him. Sat me down at the dining table. Asked Edna to give me whatever it is that I wanted. But they had done a thorough analysis of the last 6 years of First Bank, everything that was on record to be analyzed. He had prepared a position for me at the point of takeoff and had charted a path for me for the next few years to go forward. He had marked certain critical things to track and said, these 3 things you track. No matter what they say to you, ask for those 3 things. And if you keep track of this, this is where you will end. You will, no management will be able to keep you in the dark in terms of what is going on. If it was just that day and that moment, it would be something to clap for. But in normal Bode style, for those he loves and consider his own, it became a journey. For the 5 years and 4 months that I was chair of First Bank, Bode was my behind the scene. He was committed and diligent in ensuring I had the right information, I had the right indicators, I had the right guidance, and he continued to support me to the very last moment. One story. Second one, and I'll end with that. I'd served under my Pro-Chancellor and Chair, Mr. Agusto, at Lagos State University, which was a very shocking, eye-opening whole experience. But Mr. Kekere made it a lot easier to navigate a very public sector institution. And as he retired, I was very gladly looking forward to exiting with him. But Mr. Governor at that point, Babatunde Fashola, decided he was appointing Bode Agusto as the next Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council. And Bode, for whatever reason, decided that he was going to accept the appointment if I would stay back. Now, none of them spoke to me. This was a conversation between the two of them. And Tunde Fashola offered me as a way to confirm that Bode would stay. And then called me after to say, well, this is what happened, and I've already promised that you will stay. I said, no, but I was ready to leave. He said, yes, but you're not leaving, because you're going to have to work. He's your brother, he says, and he's not going to take it except you stay. So I stayed. It was a very great experience to watch Bode at work, but more importantly, to watch at no cost to the institution, his diligence, his dedication to the cause. But also to learn from him that when you have put everything behind something, no matter the title or the office, if it doesn't give you the result that it should, you shouldn't be afraid to walk away. And after we had really worked hard to reset some things, we had gotten some commitments on things that would be changed. We always went for those meetings together. And when it got to a point that he felt, you know what, we're not getting value for all that we're putting in, he called me and said, I have evaluated how much time and resources I've spent in the last so many years towards this. And in terms of value for money, I can't say it. So I'm out of here. So I said, well, you're out of here means I'm out of here. And so we both left. But that was Bode. Titles mean nothing. Office means nothing. Getting the job done and doing it right was the all-important thing. God bless Bode where he is. And God bless you because he left you a great legacy. I'm sure you will have to knock doors twice before you will get help. Thank you, everyone.
Condolences to everybody, most especially the family of Bode Agusto. It's truly an honor and privilege to be out here to say a few words about Bode. I must have met Bode in 1991. I met him through Mr. Kola Adeola and of course Mr. Tayode Rokun, our bosses at the time and always. Absolutely. But our relationship got better and better when he was living in the same apartment as I. Well, he was living upstairs, I was living downstairs. And we were not married at the time, and so I and I would hang out there having a couple of beers. And I remember on his 40th birthday, he would send down, Edna would send rice, send chicken, send beer, and all of that. We couldn't go upstairs because our real senior brothers, Kola, Tayo, and Bode were out there, and we didn't want them to know the mischief we're up to. But more importantly, Bode paid special attention to I and I. He encouraged us, obviously in the early days of Guaranteed Trust through the training, and later on, when we chose to pursue our own entrepreneurial endeavor, Bode would come in and work with us from the very first day. And he would tell us, I didn't know he was telling everybody the same thing. He said, you guys, together with your colleagues in GT, will produce the finest bankers. Even if he told everybody the same thing, I think I believed it and I believe it now. So, we kept on even in a very vulnerable state. Bode would come in and give us inspiration. During the crisis that Soludo came with, Bode told us you had to make it through and continue to support us. Bode was always present at all our retreats, and we kept fighting. But they will tell us in that his characteristic voice, he'll say, what is your ROA? That figure meant everything to Bode. But to us, we told him a trading skill for that ROA. A fight that was continuous for several years. And one day he said, okay, now you have skill, where's the ROA? I told him it's going to come over time. But he was truly our friend. And I recall on his 60th birthday in the Algarves. But it was not one for frivolities, and so when he invited me for a party, he would attend. On his 60th birthday, I traveled with my wife to spend time with Bode. We had a good time, walked around the entire golf course, and I was enjoying what Bode was enjoying. He took me to Chief Sankey. Chief Sankey was about 94 at the time. Bode was very empirical. He said, in the Algarves, you are likely to live to 90. Look at Chief Sankey. Look at the quality of life. We had dinner with him. I told my wife, this appears to be a good secret. These are girls. I said, he brought a doctor and told me, this doctor, they convinced me that there was nobody who was 60 years old who didn't have both his parents alive in the Algarves. And it appeared to be working. He told me about a hospital called Chapelomon in Lisbon. He said all these things are available, and that is why he's here together with God. He almost convinced me to go and live there with him. Apparently, all those things. Let's try the best that we can. Everything, your time is in the hands of God.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
It's almost surreal that we're here paying tributes to Bode at 67. 68. Same thing now. Mr. Fashola was, when Kola wanted to drive him out of here, said we are both in the 60s together. But honestly, we'll truly miss Bode. I think we should spend our time celebrating him. We have no control over time. For the great things for his pioneering efforts, when he set up Agusto & Co., it was one of the most cerebral things to have done. And whether we believe it or not, it marked a turning point as far as banking and financial markets are concerned. That their third CEO, 30 years is a great time for that business. And quite frankly, we must celebrate Bode for all the things he has done. And so for all of us here, I think he's touched our lives in several different ways. But for me, the most important is the unwavering support and commitment and encouragement and inspiration he gave to I, for which I will be eternally grateful. May Bode's soul rest in perfect peace, and may the Almighty grant his family and all of us here.
I wear a suit, but my wife left it in Portugal. But I'm glad to be wearing a Ghana because my dear uncle over here did not add a Mr. before my name. So maybe after this I will get Mr. When I first met Daddy Agusto, all he said was hi and okay, bye, for probably 3 or 4 months. And when you come looking for a man's daughter, you should be prepared for anything. But I think silence is the biggest terror because you don't know what he's plotting. So I told Mutrai, I don't think your dad likes me. I'm not coming here again. And she convinced me to keep coming. But once I finally passed his values check, I then saw the bottomless bucket of love that is Bode Agusto. You've heard all about that today. And I mean that it is truly a bottomless bucket of love. For you to love others that much, you must love yourself and be deeply comfortable and content with yourself. And so my first lesson from Daddy Agusto, as I call him, is to love. To love yourself, your true self, and to be so comfortable and content with yourself that you then begin to overflow love for others. Very quickly, I stopped feeling like his son-in-law, and I felt more like his son. And so I switched to calling him Dad, and he accepted it. The second lesson I learned was patient knowledge transfer. The way he explains things to people, he would slowly write down every single point with his pen and notebook, as people have mentioned today. And I think that ROE formula that Mr. Wigwe mentioned, I think many of us have it on a paper somewhere. After our wedding, he took me to learn golf in the Algarve. He paid for my golf lessons. I wasted a lot of his money. But he would patiently pay to take me again and again and again. And he would say, control your speed. Stop using so much force. You young boys, you have too much energy. Slowly. The third lesson I learned from him was kindness. He was incredibly down to earth, incredibly kind, and treated everyone like a human. He would drive me and Motoraya to the train station so we wouldn't miss our flights. He would bring us food. He would bring me food when I was working late. He would respect our decisions and never impose himself on you. I once asked him to pass me the salt, and he said, Shane, you eat too much salt. It's not good for you. But you take. On a very long walk in Austin, when our daughter was born, I asked him tons of questions. No question was ever ridiculous for him. I would ask him about life, work, everything. And he told me all of his values of humility, value for hard work, tolerance, many of which we mentioned tonight. Most of you have known him here for much more than I have, many years. If Motorayo had just said yes when I first asked her to be my girlfriend, I would have known him for 1 year longer. So I blame her for my time with him being cut short. Before he left us at the hospital, he said to all of us in the room, and he was speaking to me directly, he said, Sheni, I'm glad you're on the team. I hope you stay the course. He accepted me, he approved of me as a son, just like Mommy Agusto did, and everyone else in the family has. I want to thank all of you. I will stay the course. May our Father's soul rest in perfect peace.
Wings and made me fly. You stood by me and I stood tall. I had your love, I had it all. I'm grateful for each day you gave me. And I was blessed because you loved me. You were always there for me, the tender wind that carried me, a light in the dark, shining your light into my life. You've been my inspiration, through the lies your words are truth. My world is a better place because of you. 'Cause you were my strength when I was weak. You were my voice when I couldn't speak. You were my eyes when I couldn't see. You saw the best that was in me. Lifted me up when I couldn't reach. You gave me faith 'cause you believe. I am everything I am, and I'm standing here today because you love me. I am everything I am, and we are everything we have. I am everything I am because you love me. And will always love you. Will always love you. Will always love you.
colleague, most of all my brother. We will miss you. We had great times at work. You made them fun. Your infectious, quirky laughter. I remember that always. It was so good to see you the last time in London with the children. I hope that in time the family will come to understand this enormous loss to all of us. And we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you Al-Jannah Firdaus.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I want to use this opportunity to pay tribute to my friend and brother, late Bode Agusto. May his soul rest in perfect peace. At the inception of our administration in 1999, I had to put together a group of technocrats who would advise our government on how to reform the Nigerian economy. I remember there were about 9 or 10 of them, and Bode Agusto was one of them. And within a very short time or period, they put together a report which I submitted to the president. I want to use this opportunity to pay tribute to my friend and brother, late Bode Agusto. May his soul rest in perfect peace. At the inception of our administration in 1999, I had to put together a group of technocrats who would advise our government on how to reform the Nigerian economy. I remember there were about 9 or 10 of them, and Bode Agusto was one of them. And within a very short time or period, they put together a report which I submitted to the president.
Including B Daddy's roommate for a few days when Mom had to go to London for Goldmyne's graduation. Kemi was Daddy's roommate, caring for Daddy around the clock. I thank you all. I hope I haven't left anyone out. And TV, thank you for your presence. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for the jollof rice and the chicken. Mama enjoyed it very much. Made my work easier. And Tizé say, it is okay. All of Mom's sisters formed an army of prayer warriors. Thank you all for everything. And I don't only thank people for the last 4 months and the last 5 months. I thank you all for contributing in your special ways to my father's blessed life. Daddy was very clear in the last months and the last weeks of his life. He said to us, do not despair. Rather, thank God for me for 68 quality years on this earth. Even in the face of imminent death, his mind was clear. He was grateful to his Maker. Ironically, even for good health. Because he explained to us that in his 68 years on earth, he had pretty much had perfect health up until this final moment. And so he was thankful. I thank you all for the parts that you've played in his life. I thank you for enriching his life. I thank you for everything you contributed to making him who he is, or who he was now. Uncle Shego, where is Uncle Shego? Uncle Shego, you can't hide in the chair. I thank you for everything. Uncle Ike and your boy, Uncle Herbert, I thank you. We thank you. Actually, I'm speaking on behalf of all of us. We thank you for everything. I just want to reiterate again grateful we are for your support, for everything. I also thank God. I thank God for the gift that my father was to me, to his wife, to all of his children, to his siblings, to his cousins, to his friends, to his colleagues. I thank God, and I think we all thank God for the gift that we had to have met him. Because when I think of my life and the particular circumstances of my life, it is clear to me that if I had been born to any other man, the trajectory of my life would have been entirely different. And so, I'll just close by saying that I thank the Almighty Allah for a blessed life, a meaningful life, an impactful life, a purposeful life. I've said several times over the last few weeks that though Daddy's work was not done, Daddy finished his work. He didn't leave anything undone. Though his work was not done, he finished his work. And so I thank you all for honoring him with your presence here today. And I'd just like to say that may God bless you with good health, with long lives, and with the kind of abundant love that our Father showed to us every day of our lives. The reception will be in the next hall. I will kindly ask that you please bear with us some more as we just fellowship together, remember our Father, and continue to thank God for his life. Thank you all. So let me just provide you with some context. So that was Daddy's 60th birthday in the Algarve, so the party at Chisaki's house. You can hear Mubasheer in the background saying, protecting my brother, saying he's an old man, oh, be careful. So I'll just ask them to play it one more time, just to remind you all of who he was, what a happy person he was, and how we celebrate his life. Thank you.
My baby's coming around. I have to leave a little girl in Kingston town. See, down the way, running night today, and the sun shines there, under mountain top. So out of the tree, 170, when I reach Jamaica, I'm made this my border. Santa say, I'm on my way, and I will be back for many a day. My heart is down, my head is turning around. I have to meet a little girl in Kingston town. Oh, Santa say, I'm on my way. My heart is down, my head is turning around. I
can make love, we can bring salvation back. So where there is love, where there is love, I'll be there. And I'll reach out my hands to you, and I'll have faith in all you do. So just call my name, baby, 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 and I'll be there. Each time we make love, and I find complete love without your sweet love. Then where will I be? So never ever leave me lonely. You tell me you love me only, and that you always, baby, 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 I'll be there. I bless the day I found you, and I wanna stay around you. So just call my name, baby, 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 I'll be there. Be set, daylight, come back, we wanna go. I say, daylight, be set, daylight, come back, we wanna go. It's the time, daylight, come back, we wanna go. It's the time, daylight, come back, we wanna go. So I say, yeah, be set, daylight, come back, we wanna go. So I said, yeah, be set, daylight, come back, we wanna go. So I say, yes, Sarah, whatever will be, the future's for us to see. Yes, Sarah, yes, Sarah, whatever will be.
We sure hope you enjoyed this video. For more entertaining video content such as behind the scenes of music videos and movies, music concerts, premieres, interviews, and exclusive gists, subscribe now to our YouTube channel GoldmyneTV and be unleashed into a world of super excitement.